my condolences as a Floridian to the great residents of New York City. I hate to tell you that my property values went up last night, but I wish you guys nothing but the best. You've survived a lot. You'll survive this.
How about that, huh? Did you see the speech? It was so over the top mean.
I did see the speech.
Tell me, what did you think? What'd you think?
I think he, it was terrible, right? I think he was petty. I think he was not dignified. I mean, I'm no Andrew Cuomo fan, but I do believe you will need Andrew Cuomo. You will need the old guard to govern to get anything actually done. I think, you hear a lot about how the Democrats have leaned into theater kids. Mamdani appeared to be a theater kid last night. He's play acting. He's still selling this fantasy that he's going to be able to make everyday life for New York City residents cheaper. I don't believe that will be the case. It's never been done successfully before. I do not believe someone with zero political experience and zero actual professional experience will get it done now. But I do think that in the long run, it's good that people can finally see this fantasy of Democrat socialism fail when being practiced on the biggest stage in the world.
So can we put this achievement of his, look, he got elected, came out of nowhere. That's an achievement. But I want to put that in perspective. Incumbent politicians always live in fear of an insurgent candidacy from their flank, from the left flank, from the right flank, because you can do it with pizza and coffee and, a lot of passionate volunteers. That can happen. It has happened. It happened again. It's not as shocking as this is being portrayed. I just, I saw this happens throughout history. This is half of why politics is politics, because the establishment tries to guard itself against this because they know it can happen. Is that fair?
It's absolutely fair. And to be clear, what happened last night was not a ringing endorsement of Zohran Mamdani and the policies he stands for. What happened last night was a rejection of the status quo in New York City and the Democrat rule that has ruined that city with high crime, high costs for decades. Zohran Mamdani campaigned on trying to solve problems for people. He said he would make their falafel cheaper by talking about lowering the regulation costs for the vendors of the food trucks. He talked about getting rid of the rats and trying to lower crime by getting rid of the fare boxes on buses, which I think will not also make a notable difference. It was a disaster in Kansas City when it was tried. But it's not like people said, oh, that sounds terrific. It's just that what they currently are getting is so bad. If you are stuck in a burned building, the place you could go to could be littered with criminals, but it's still better than being in a place that's on fire. And that's what I think ultimately people chose last night. And to your point about it not being that surprising, the stat I saw is that less than 12% of the city voted. So if that's true, then it isn't some overwhelming mandate. I do think it's significant that he got a majority of the votes. So, the Curtis Sliwas of the world don't have to feel that bad. But at the end of the day, I think it's also, look, New York City's very costly, a lot of crime, and Andrew Cuomo is a disgraced, scandal-ridden old politician who's not an appealing alternative. So, I don't think it required an act of political magic to get this done.
Yeah. And, respectfully, though, hearing his messaging, it was very philosophical, the stuff he talked about. He didn't speak in pragmatic terms. He didn't speak like a crime fighter, like I'm going to solve the crime situation. Everybody kind of knew he has a soft on crime approach. I think it was, and also the media helped in that instead of critical coverage, because the New York Times can't do that, they're afraid of their readers. They treated him, they glorified him, and they normalized him. They made him the stylish candidate. I don't know if it was a rejection so much as a virtue signal. This guy is cool. We vote for cool people because we're New York and we're cool. A lot of it is yeah.
No, I agree with that. That's fair. I will say, though, in his early videos, how he won the Democrat primary is actually by doing a lot of these videos on the street and tackling specific issues. And he did have specific and granular policy ideas. But I do think it's this mixture of, he's quoting Eugene Debs last night, right? So there's clearly a heavy socialist philosophical bent, to your point. But I do think that there were specific policies that you saw. The significant majority of his base are people under the age of 30. So people who have been sold this idea that if you come out, just go to school, get a degree, then you're going to be able to make it in the world. And that's just not the case. in a city like New York City, which is quite expensive. So, like, look, you live there. I don't. I defer to you, but my read on it, and from everything I've read and the people I've spoken to, I do think that it was this cool guy. It's this trendy thing to do, but it's also, we're going to go with the trendy new thing because the old thing's not that great.
Well, yes, and but again, I'm sorry. That one thing got my, because I never saw anything practical, and I did see the videos. Like, we're going to make falafel $8, not $10. Literally, it was from $10 to $8. And oh, by the way, it varies wildly in price. It even depends upon the time of day sometimes with these guys. All right, and it's just all over the place. And for most New Yorkers, actually, those food trucks are a bit of an issue. Right? They're not clean. And I know the restaurants which are struggling, they hate the food trucks. So, it was stylish. It's a fake issue. But it looked cool. And, but now the mask is off. He was vicious last night. Now, Steve Bannon says this is boding very, very badly for America in general. This won't be an opportunity for Republicans to point their finger at a socialist. This is going to happen all over the place. Young, charismatic, newly arrived people running for office, and bad-mouthing America every step of the way.
Oh, I think that I hate that might be true, but it might be true. I mean, you've seen it in Dearborn, Michigan, and there's been some reporting about Mamdani and the mayor of Dearborn, and the mayor of, I think, one other town being, kind of part of this funding network with Islamist ties. That's just also kind of leaning into the Democrat Socialist network of Bernie Sanders. So. That to me is the most troubling trend. And the clip we played on the podcast, which again is on background with Susan Crabtree, is he's shouting out all these different immigrant groups. And, I think what they realize is Kamala Harris could not sell. One of the reasons why she lost, in my opinion, is no one believed her, or not enough people believed her when she said she would love this country and she's proud of this country. And I don't think most people generally think Democrats, like when they try to embrace themselves in the flag, it seems inauthentic. Unfortunately, it seems quite authentic when these young progressives badmouth the country. That seems to be exactly where they are, and I do think they have a natural constituency and maybe a growing one because people have now been indoctrinated for decades in our liberal and failing public education systems where they're told exactly that.
Hey, check this out. You're gonna recognize some of the voices, and if you don't, let me give everybody a hint out there. Ronald Reagan, Bill Clinton, followed by Zohran Mamdani over the years. All right, and here we are. Go ahead.
Government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
We know big government does not have all the answers. We know there's not a program for every problem.
We will prove that there is no problem too large for government to solve and no concern too small for it to care about.
Wow. You could call that. Isn't that amazing? The dumbing down of America.
It's amazing.
Oh, here we are. All right. Eric Eggers, you're amazing. We should check out the On Background podcast. That's about to be the biggest podcast in the universe. On Background with Eric Eggers and Susan Crabtree. And I look forward to it. Seriously, breaking records. You guys are amazing, on the cutting edge. And Eric Eggers, thanks for being with us.